morning to our respected teachers and my dear colleagues. I am extremely honored to have a chance to address Professor Dr. Biju Bhattacharya in this prestigious moment. Our institution has organized guest lecture based on a vulnerability. Our institution has organized guest lecture based on a vulnerability assessment, pen testing and ethical hacking. Dr. Biju Bhattacharya, he had completed a bachelor degree mechanical engineering in Pulchak campus, Tribhuvan University, and he completed master degree computer engineering in University of Southern Mississippi. Finally, he completed a PhD in computational science in 2014. 11 years of experience in daily system operation, networking and system administration and cybersecurity. Expertise in advanced computing, numerical modeling, optimization, simulation and data mining. I am over this session to Dr. Biju Bhattacharya, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone. So how are you doing this morning? Fine, everything is fine. Not sleepy, right? No one is sleepy, right?
Yes, sir.
So everybody is fresh because today is the Monday, right? So usually Monday, everybody will be very, very fresh. And usually on Friday, so maybe people will be making some plans, even though they are in the class, right? Okay, so let me start by introducing myself, and I will be introducing my university, and I will go to our topic. So my name is Biju Bhattacharya, and originally I'm from Nepal, but I live in US. I've been living there from 12 years now. But I started my work, it's nearly from 1996 I started my work, so it's more than 22, 23 years now. And I have some certifications, right? So I put it there, and currently I'm a professor in Ball State University. Does anybody heard that name? Ball State University. No, right? So actually it's located in the Midwest means in the Indiana state. So in US, so all the states are divided into a region. So my place is in the Midwest region. And Midwest region has, you may have heard about Chicago, Indianapolis, right? So I'm in the Indianapolis. So Chicago is the third largest city of US, so that is, so I'm very close from that place. Everyone can hear. So I have my mechanical engineering degree in 2001, so I completed in 2001, so this is 2020, so this time, so actually I'm starting my final year exactly 20 years ago, right? Exactly this time. So I finished my mechanical engineering degree, but the story of so I never worked as a mechanical engineer. So even if I was a student in a mechanical engineer, I was a software developer at that time. So I was a software developer from 1996 until 2004, and after that I switched my job and I became a network and communication engineer. So that was the path that I changed later on, and I used to teach in several colleges in Nepal, and I used to work as a consultant for several companies. I used to support for the networking and data communication, so that's why in Nepal, almost everyone knows me during that time. But these days, so I haven't been living there from a long time, so maybe only a few people may know me. But during those times, so almost everyone knows me. Right? So I started that path, and after working for some years, I moved to the United States. In the United States, I did computer engineering degree in my master's. Even though my degree was in mechanical engineering, so I was also able to do in computer engineering. So if you are smart, if you know already, if you have a work experience, so you can quickly do the master's also. So I did master's in 1 year. So it doesn't take a long time. So if you are already experienced, you need just a degree, right? So if you need a degree, you don't need to go through 2 years or 3 year course. So you can also go through 1 year and you can finish it. And after that, I did a computational science in my PhD. Does anybody knows what is computational science? Do you know what is why people study computational science. But it's slightly different because in the US also there are only few number of universities they offer this computational science degrees. In my college itself, so we have several courses related to the computer, but they are different programs. Like information technology is there, right? And computer technology is there. So computer technology and computer technology and information technology, they are very close, but information system is very different, right? And we have a computer science, and we have a bachelor's in media technology. We have a bachelor's in graphic technology. We have a bachelor's in information management. So they are all different. So these days they are all segregated, right? And most recent one is the bachelor of cybersecurity. So that cybersecurity is also coming in new as a completely new program in US. So they are very new these days, right? So because that's becoming a hot topic in US. So I was talking about this computational science. So computational science means it's a science of math. It's a mathematics, but it's a science of math. And it's very close to the computer science. Because it is very close to the computer science, because it's a calculation you will do using the computers. Right? Because there are so many calculations that you can't use the computer to solve it, or you can't use any calculation using the hands or normal computers. So you need a specific type of computer, right? So this is all the study of doing a huge calculation using the powerful computers. So usually we use a supercomputer. And in US, in several states, so there is a supercomputing centers. I'm not sure if you may also have a supercomputing center here. Do you have a supercomputing center here? So usually in US, so not everyone has it, but some universities they will have it. And in their supercomputing center, so they will have 2 terabytes of RAM, right? 400 gigahertz of CPU. So how is that possible? 2 terabytes of RAM, right? So actually supercomputing is nothing special. So it's all about combining all the computers into one single computer, so you can have a higher capacity and higher speed. Right? So it's look like if you want to do some work, so if you have 500 people, then you can do much faster. So in here also you will have 500 computers combined together to make it one single computer, and they will try to calculate and it will be faster. So usually in my university we use this supercomputing for gene simulations. Right? So you will have some modified gene and you will be studying. So those researchers, what they will do is they will modify the gene and they want to see after 10 years what happened to that animal or gene structure, right? Because those genes will be changed. So after 10 years, if they need to simulate on the real animal, it will take a long time, and they complete for 10 years or 15 years. So we can simulate that in a computer, and computer also may take 6 months or 7 months to calculate, right? So those kind of calculation is done by the specific supercomputer, so that can be solved in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Otherwise, so that may take months or many months, or sometimes it may take over a year also. So that's why people do the computational science. So this is clear, right? So this is the one of the field in the computer science, where you will use the computer to solve this problem. So if you have it 500 computers combined together, how would you solve the problem by the 500 computers for one problem? So this is what we study in computational science, right? So that was my degree. And qualification wise, so I have listed some qualifications. And the next topic is, so my job experience. So I was a software developer, right? And I developed a software for nearly 4 companies. So I put those logos there from their companies. So one of the software I built was for the Ministry of Education in Nepal. So that's for the government. So they bought my software, right? Another software was one FM station and the TV station. So they also bought my software, where what they will do is they will list all the advertisements, right? And they will schedule the advertisement, and they will play those advertisements based on the software, right? So that they will know how many advertisements was played during 1 hour or during the day, or which advertisements are played more, so that they can appeal to the customers. So that was the software I built. And also there was one software that I built for the university myself. Right? So in that, the number of students who enrolled, who got admission, so that will be entered into the computer, and they will be billed accurately. Right? And if any student has to as a remaining balance. Then if there is any scholarship open, or if there is already posted, so we will give the scholarship. So if we find a very good students, outstanding students, so we will give the scholarship, because we have to wait until they are graduated. So if they are graduated, then the seats will be open, and if the seats are open, then if you apply at the same time, so university may select you. Right? So my university will be hiring you at least one scholarship, one student in a scholarship program next year. So if you are in the final year, so you can plan and think of that. Right? So if you are interested, so you can apply there, and you can come in a full scholarship program. And the university will also pay you by month, so that you can also live in US without having to bring your money from your own pocket. So there is a possibility, right? Because we will give the scholarships every year, and we will give the student. That is only in my program. So if you go to the other program also, you may get the scholarship. Like even if you go to computer science or other programs, so you may get the scholarships. And let me also quickly give you some information. So if you want to study computer science, or maybe computer science related IT or information management, so you may get the scholarship, but that scholarship doesn't need to be from the same department. Right? So if you want to study in IT, but you can get the scholarships in museum also. So last year, I met one guy. So he was working in the museum. Right? And if you get the job in the museum, because my university has its own museum, and movie theater, and own TV channels, so you can also get the job there. If you get the job there, so those departments, they will pay your whole school fees, tuition fees, and they will also pay you the as a salary or as a stipend. So they will give you that so that you can live in US. Because most of the people in the beginning, so they will think you need to apply for the scholarship in the same department, but that's not true. So you can live in any place. If you get it in the museum or in the library, so it may be much easier for you. Because you don't have to do anything, so you'll be just standing on the gate, and if anybody comes, so you may be checking ID cards, or if somebody asks you anything, so you'll be answering all of that. Right? So you don't need to do anything. Plus, you have to sit in the main gate when people are entering and going out. So that may be easy, right? So if you get that kind of scholarship, that will make your work easier, and so that you can also check your book whenever you are sitting on the gate, so you can study by yourself if there is no people coming. Because usually in the US, it's not very crowded. Here it is crowded, so you will be continuously doing work, but there it is not crowded, so you can work. So this is clear, right? And if you do a scholarship, so let me also give you, because I was also a person where I'm selecting the students for the scholarship programs, right? So when we select the students for the scholarship, so what we do is, we will see the student's project, what he has done. Right? So if his project was very good, or if he can submit the project, his sample of his project work, so based on his project work also we can give the scholarship. Because we like those work. We need somebody who can work on that kind of project. So that's why we look for the projects that you do during your undergraduate programs. Right? And another thing is, so some students, so even though they finish their undergraduate, so their project may not be very effective to certain professor, or maybe that doesn't match. Because you have done on something else, but some professors, so they want to have some student, but their experience doesn't match. So if that happens for your undergraduate course, if you have a job experience in the companies for 2 years or 3 years, so that will make your application more stronger. So we will try to find, so if you have some students, they have a good project, and they have also job experience, then probably most of the professors, they will choose that kind of students from abroad, usually from abroad. And you may know, so GRE is also there, but these days, so GRE is just a formality. Because they will look at GRE, so even, because what happens is, most of the students, so even if their GRE score is high, so when they come to the US, so they may not be very good. So usually, so they doesn't trust. Right? So even if your GRE or maybe TOEFL score is very good, because there is just a minimum requirement, so usually professors and departments, they will check only those minimum requirements. So if you pass it, and if the professor likes it, so they can give you the scholarships. Right? And almost every university, so they will be having some scholarships program, so that you can easily get those things. So this is clear, right? How you can get into the US, and in Canada also the same thing, but I do not have any idea Europe, what they do, right? But in US, so we do that way. Now my next topic is, so why we are interested in security. So for the cybersecurity jobs in US, currently the average salary is $110,000 US dollar. So is that a good amount? 110,000. You'll be happy, right? If somebody pays you that much salary. So that is the average salary. So average salary, so even if you don't make it good, you may get a little less, right? So usually, most of the fresh graduates, so they will make 65 and 70,000. So 60,000 is a good money, $60,000 a year. So usually the fresh students, so they will make that much, right? And if they are a little bit expensive, so that will easily go up, and that can go up to nearly 200,000. So if somebody is experienced with 2 years or 3 years of experience, so they can easily make 200 or 250,000. So I have so many friends, my colleagues, they are getting that much salary. So we are interested on this because exactly same time. So there was one survey, and according to that survey, right? So there is $320,000, which is nearly $3 lakh a year. Sorry, this is a 3,200,000. They are the job openings right now in the January in last year, right? And they are increasing. So their job openings there are so many job openings than the number of applicants. So the number of applicants in the cybersecurity, they are less, but the job openings are more. So that's why there is easy to get the job. So you may remember, so when I was a graduate, right? So I did my undergrad, I finished mechanical engineering, but still I was working as a programmer, and every company is giving me the job. Easily they are giving me the job. But during those times, there was one person, he became so popular. He was an Indian guy who first made the email program. Do you know his name? Who's that guy? He was an Indian guy, right? And he sold his software, email system, with $40 million to Microsoft. So Microsoft bought his software for $40 million. And in overnight, he became a billionaire. Who is that? So his name is Sabir Bhatia. Right? So Sabir Bhatia sold his email system to Microsoft at a cost of $40 million. So that was impressive, right? So during those times, so software developing is very interesting because they are getting more money, right? IT jobs are getting more money, but suddenly it is changing again now. The scenario is changing. So now the more money is in cybersecurity. So if you are on cybersecurity, you can easily get the job. So 20 years ago or 10 years ago, if you know how to write a code, so you can easily get the job. But the scenario is changing, right? So if you are on a cybersecurity, so you can get more money. So according to the one survey website, that's called a SSL score, right? So that SSL score, they put how much money? So government has a $15 billion they spent on security, physical security alone, $15 billion, right? But they lose nearly $20 billion because of the ransomware and malwares, right? So they are losing more money. So that's why they are pouring the more money. So these days they are pouring a lot of money, right? Just recently I was in one federal meeting, and that meeting was about the cybersecurity, right? And they were talking. We were discussing about how to increase the number of manpower in cybersecurity because it's a demand, but in the market there are not enough people who are graduate in cybersecurity, or there is not enough manpower. So that's been a very problem. Now let's think of India. So in India, how much a regular cybersecurity person makes it exit, how much money he will make in India on average? How much money a cybersecurity guy makes a year in India? Is that 5 lakhs, 2 lakhs? How much? Is that a good amount? So I tried to find that answer. So people have to, let's say this, so there's a one company, so what they have done is they try to find the answer, what is the job requirement. So they, according to them, there are 1 million jobs available by 2020 or 2021. 1 million jobs, right? And those demands are increasing every year, every month in India alone. So if there's a 1 million jobs available in India, then would you be able to catch any one of them? You can't get one of them, right? Because there are 1 million jobs throughout whole India. So that means there is a north perspective of this field. And this is also for the freshers who are just recently graduated. So this is the average salary, right? Or median salary. So in India, so average person makes nearly 22 to 32 lakhs a year, right? So if person in India, if the average salary in security field, they makes nearly 22 to 32 lakhs. Is that good money? So in India itself, it's not bad, right? So you can make a lot of money. So I'm not sure if this is better than your software developers or engineers. So this may be better than engineers, right? So I do not know how much the engineers make. Now, the highest salary paid for the security person in India, how much is that? Can you guess that amount? How much? 60 lakhs? The highest paid person in India in security field. How much he got the salary in a year? How much? 32 lakhs. So can you go to the next? So this number one. So can you go back? I think that slide was missing here. So in Chennai alone, so there are nearly 10.8% of the cybersecurity jobs they are in Chennai alone, right? So if we compare to the old states in India, so they are nearly 10% here. So that's not bad, right? So if you want to get a job, so it's not, you don't have to go travel to other states. And I was talking about the highest paid salary in India, right? So that was at 4 crore a year. That was the salary, the person getting that much salary a year. 4 crore. I think 4 crore is not bad, right? So that is also impressive. So I myself got impressive, right? Okay. So that was the perspective why we are interested in cybersecurity, right? Because they are very, very attractive that not only in India and US, so all over the world, so this is becoming very attractive, right? So that's why the people are attracting. But the number of enrollments of the students in cybersecurity, they are less, but they are increasing, right? Because nobody knows what is cybersecurity. Now there is so many cybersecurity programs. They are recently launched by the several universities in US, right? So they will say Bachelor of Science in Cybersecurity. And in some universities, so in cybersecurity also they have different programs. So there's a Bachelor of Science in Risk Management, so that's a different thing, right? And Bachelor of Science in Forensics, so that's a different thing. So they are also having a separate courses because in 4 years it's not sufficient, it is not sufficient to cover all of them. So that's why they have a different tracks or different programs on the cybersecurity. So if you go to a slightly bigger university, so they will have a different programs, not just a cybersecurity track. So now before I start talking about this, so this is the overview why we are interested in cybersecurity. Now we will try to understand what the cyberspace is. So recently there is a new word, so people started to call it as a cyberspace. But in the past it's not a cyberspace, right? But now it's a cyberspace. So what does cyberspace means? Because in the past everybody says internet, right? So we are using internet. Now we are saying we are using the cyberspace. So cyberspace means in a cyberspace there are 4 kinds of components. If you divide it, so you will see, like if you see an animal, so you will see first see the head, body, legs, right, tails, like that. So they are the components what you see in the cyberspace. So in the cyberspace, the first thing you will see is data, right? Because data is almost everywhere. So what is everywhere means? So they can be in 4 different locations. Listen up exactly 4. So in some books, so it is written 5 different ways, but we can say 4 or 5. Right? So some books they use to say it's a 4 different way. So that means data can be on rest. So data on rest means data on the hard drive or on a storage server. They are not doing anything. They are just sitting, right? So those data can be sitting. So if you have any data on your USB, if you connect to your computer, still they are on the USB. They are resting. They are not doing anything. That's called data on rest. And another state of the data is data on the fly. They will be flying. So if you send an email and your destination is at London, so what will happen? It will take some time to get there, right? So if it takes some time to get there, it's called data on the fly. Because they are flying right now. So that's another state. And another state is data on use. So data on use means, does anybody know what is data on use? So data on use means they are in the memory. They are in the RAM. So if you type something on the board, where does that go? They will stay on the memory, right? So if you do any kinds of work, so they will stay in the memory. So memory is just look like a waiting room, right? So if somebody comes here, so I was also sitting in some room downstairs, right, before I came here. Because I have to wait until this class is ready, right? So I'm staying there. So that is a type of a RAM, memory. Because memory is just a waiting station where you'll be waiting for your processing, right? For your real work. So they are staying in the memory. Then they are waiting there to travel back to the storage device, or maybe they are waiting for to get inside the processor so that they can be processed. So the another data is that data is in process. They are in the CPU. They are not in the RAM, but they are inside the CPU. Right? So if they are in the CPU, they are getting transformations. And they are processed. Right? So that's called data on process. So that's why there are a total of 4 states. Data on process, data on use, data on the fly, data on the rest. Right? So on in cyberspace, so there are data, so they are almost everywhere. Right? And what is in the cyberspace? There is a process. So process means they are actually the processors. So processors can be on anything. So in your cell phone, also you have processors, right? On your smart things, this smart things is becoming popular. So if you have a smart bulb, there also you are having a processors. That may be your servers. That may be the servers, or that can be any kind of computer, right? They are the processors. So in a cyberspace, there are so many processing nodes which are continuously working to transfer your data, right? They are transferring your data into different states. And the third component is infrastructure devices, which allows you to transfer those data from one place to another place, right? So that is called infrastructure devices. So infrastructure devices means usually routers, switches, right? Routers, switches, cable that allows to transfer your data from one location to the another location of your cyberspace. So that's why they are called infrastructure devices. And among the infrastructure devices, there are some firewalls, right? Intrusion detection systems. So they are the optional devices. They are the optional devices. Without that also, your network will work. And if that is optional devices, they are called the features, right? So you may have heard about features. So what are the features of our place, of our university? Are there the characteristics or features are the same? No, right? So all the characteristics are not the features, but all the features are characteristics, right? Because feature means if you have a features, then it will make you easier to work. it will make your work faster, so that's what we call it features. So if you buy anything, so that will have just a few features, right? Because that will be written on your box. Even if you buy any kinds of electronics or any kinds of stuff, machines, you will see the features. But if you try to specify the characteristics, it will be locked. Because I woke up in the morning, so that's not my feature, right? Because that's a characteristics, because everybody wakes up in the morning. So that kind of common thing is called the characteristics. But if they are unique, that's the features. And these features are optional. So here also there are optional features. But if you have those features, it will make much efficient or more faster. Sometimes efficiency or making faster. And the last thing is a delivery service, data delivery. Because you have the data, those data can be processed and that data can be transferred. But how do you see those data? That will be delivered on your cell phone or in your web apps, right? Websites, so usually they are presented on websites or they may be on the screen. Like if there was a live cricket match, so you will see the score on the big screen, right? Because they are also data delivery service. Something is happening on one place and all those data are collected and they are displayed on the screen. So they are the delivery systems. Because if you don't have a delivery system, if you have the data, if you have the processing, there is no meaning of that, right? So you need to see it, you need to visualize it. So that's why they are called the data delivery services. So if you have these four components, then this will make up your cyberspace. Now you know the cyberspace, right? Because most of the people, they confuse about internet and the cyberspace. So there is not only the internet, there are more than internet. So in US, internet 2 is also there, right? Have you heard about internet 2? Internet version 2. What is version 2, right? So right now they are not for public use. So most of the universities, they are interconnected using the internet too. And in internet too, so they use only to transfer the data. Not the advertisements, not to play the music, not to play your YouTube. So you can't use the YouTube on internet too. Right? Just you can transfer your data. So most of the universities, they are already connected by the internet too. And they have a very huge data speed. So their data speed is 1 terabyte per second, like that kind of speed they are having. But in the future, so it may come in the public also, right? So if you have a cyberspace, in the cyberspace to communicate, you need to have at least two persons, right? So if you need to talk, so you will have just two persons, at least two persons. If you have just one person, then if you talk by yourself, what will happen? One person can talk, but there is no output from the talking just one person, right? So in the communication also, you need to have two persons. And those two persons, so one side may be the computer, and the other side may be the computer or solver or any kinds of device, so usually we call it endpoints, because they are at the endpoints, right? So usually they are endpoints, so that can be a cell phone, or that can be your computer, laptop, or tablets. So if you have two persons or two parties, then one party is called source, another party is called destinations. And sometimes they may have a different names, right? So instead of a destination, so sometimes you can call target, right? Or sometimes you can call a victim, right? In a security, so they are called a victim, right? And then the source, their name is also different, right? Sometimes it's called a source. And sometimes their name can be attacker, right? Their name can be different things. But their name changes based on how they are accessing, how they are talking to the other side. So if he was trying to do unauthorized access with the criminal intent or malicious intent, because he wants to do something harm to the destinations. So if he wants to do something, that kind of work, then his name is changed to the attacker, hackers, right? So his name is changing because of how he was talking to the destinations. But if I'm not damaging anything to the destination, then still I may be just a source. Because I want to get something from the destinations without permissions. So that's why my role is changed. So this is the same as we are changing the role, right? So I'm here, so I'm a visiting professor here, right? So if I go to my own university, then I'm just becoming a professor, right? But if I go to somewhere else, so I may be a different person. So my role is changing. And that role is depending on what I'm doing. right? So here also, they have a different names. So attacker is one name, right? And there's one more interesting name, adversary. Does anybody knows what is adversary? So this word is also becoming popular these days. So adversary means they are not the bad guys, right? Because usually our habit is, so if you watch a movie, so there's always a one good person, one bad person, right? One hero and one villain. Right? And by doing that, so you can easily identify who is the hero, who is the villain. So that's why one person suggested me to watch a Tangle movie. I didn't understand Tangle, but I can easily identify who is hero and who is villain, right? But in reality, so we can't distinguish who is hero, who is villain, because somebody face may be intimidating, right? So he looks like very dangerous, but he may not be the really dangerous guy. But only his face looks like dangerous, right? And somebody, so he may look like a hero, but he may be a bad guy, right? But if you watch some different movies, usually Hollywood movies, so if you watch a Hollywood movies, it's very hard to distinguish who is hero, who is villain, right? Because you have to watch, you have to sit at least for half an hour or 1 hour or all the way until the end of the movie, then only you will think this is the hero, this is the villain, right? So the same way here also in the computer, if somebody is breaking something, he doesn't need to be bad guy, right? So he's not a bad guy, he's not a good guy, but they are the opponent of each other, right? And usually they are called the adversary. So if somebody says adversary, that means he's not a good, he's not a bad guy. He was against you. So you are my adversary, means whatever you are saying, I'm not agree with that, right? I'm against your thought. So that's why I'm an adversary. And whatever I say, so you do not agree with that, right? You doesn't satisfy with that answer, whatever I'm saying. So for you, it's a wrong thing, right? So if that's the case, then I'm the adversary of you and you are the adversary of mine. Because we are against each other. So if somebody says that, so you won't be able to say whether I'm a hero or he is a hero. So we are the both same, but we are challenging. So sometimes they are called challengers. This is clear, right? Adversary. So in his software companies these days, so usually if somebody makes a very secure software, let's say that software is very, very secure, right? And if the software is very secure, he says that software is secure, but other guy, he may not say that software is secure, because one person is just made a software and he said, this is the most secure software in the world, but the other guy says no, right? So this is not a secure, I can break it. This software has a vulnerability, so I can break it. Then it's called adversary. So they are the adversaries. And there are another word for them, so that's called threat agents. So threat agents means that can be a human, or that can be a bots, right? You may have heard about bots. So bots means we can turn anyone into an attacker. They are the threat agents, and they will try to attack on the other systems. So that's why they may have several names, and they are just continuously adding on to our cybersecurity language. It's a security language, right? So IT has also a language, and its language vocabulary is always increasing. There are so many new words regularly coming added to our language, right? So this is security language. So whenever we have a victim or target or vulnerable of those targets, so we call it hacking. So hacking means we are having unauthorized access. It is same as, so I said, do not do this, right? So it's the same as do not talk, right? So do not talk, but you are still making a talk, so that's a unauthorized. If somebody is saying the same thing and you are not following that, that's a malicious thing. That's a bad thing, right? So that's why that's called hacking. But if the same thing we do, is there any interesting thing going on? Okay, that's all right. Okay, so if the same thing, if you are doing the same thing, if you do it, right? But with consent, so with consent means with permission. So if you got a permission to do something, that's not a hacking anymore, right? So its name will change because you have the permission to do, right? So it's just very similar to if you have a weapon, right? If you have a weapon, so if one bad guy can also use a gun And a good guy can also have a gun, use a gun, right? Usually the police. So it's like if you have a knife, so if the knife is in the hands of one criminal, or if the same knife is in the hands of a doctor, it's a different thing, right? So here also the same thing. So if they have a consent, then it's called illegal hacking, or they may have a different names. So let's try to understand this, right? So if they have a consent, then they may also call as a white hat hacker. So they are given the title white hat hacker. Right? Otherwise, they are called a black hat. So black hat means they are the bad guys. White means they are the good guys. They are also using the same thing, but they are the good guys, right? But if they are doing this, so first thing what they will do is they will do the assessment. So assessment means we are testing. Why we do this? Why we give the permission to hack into our system? Because we want to evaluate our systems. It's same as we will exam at the end of your whole course, right? At the end of your semester, so they will give you the exams and you will check the exams, right? Because we want to evaluate whether you got all those knowledge or not. So here also we will do some illegal hacking, and that's called an assessment or testing. So for the testing also we do, and for the evaluation also we do the same thing, right? And based on that, so we have different names. And these persons, this white hat hackers, so they may have also different names. So first name is vulnerability accessor, right? So another name is a penetration tester, or they may have an integral hacker. So these terms are different. They sound similar, but they are different, right? So what's the difference between them? So vulnerability accessor means whenever we say somebody is doing a vulnerability assessment, that means he is trying to detect any known vulnerabilities. So known vulnerabilities means there are some weakness on your computer that is already known. People already knew that thing, right? So that's called a vulnerability, because everybody knows. So if you use this person, so you can easily break your authentication systems. Even if you have a username and password, so you can skip that username and password and get into your software system, or that may be your network systems, right? So that is called a known vulnerabilities. And if you are detecting the known vulnerabilities, then that's called vulnerability assessment. And how would you know the known vulnerabilities? What is known vulnerabilities mean? So known vulnerability means you don't have to know those vulnerabilities, but they are kept in a database. And database holds all the known vulnerabilities in the database, and if you want to find out, so you can go to that database and you can find what kind of vulnerability is that. So I gave you like 3 examples of that website, so you can go to that website and you can find what kind of vulnerabilities are existing in your Windows 10 or Windows 7. And if you know that, so you can easily break those systems, right? So usually this kind of work is called low-hanging fruit. And you may have heard about this word, right? Low-hanging fruits. So low-hanging fruits means, so if I ask you to bring a mango from the tree, what would you do? So you will try to get the mango that is on the top of the tree or on the bottom of the tree. So you will try first on the bottom of the tree, right? Because you don't need to spend your energy and time. Otherwise, you have to use your energy and time. And if there is nothing on the low-hanging fruit, if they are not on the bottom of the tree, maybe you have to jump to the tree, or maybe you have to throw this stone, right? So here also, this is called a low-hanging fruit because you can easily find it. You don't need to do anything, right? So just you need to find what is the vulnerabilities from the database. And to find those vulnerabilities from the database also, you have 2 choices. So one choice is try to find manually, right? So what is the version number? So if you are using, let's say, let me give you an example. So if you are using a file transfer protocol, FTP, right? Secure file transfer protocol, and if you know the version number, so if you go to that website and if you trust that web server or file server, so it will list all the vulnerabilities list, and also it will give you how to exploit that, right? How to exploit those things, so it will also list that, so that you will know how to break the system if somebody has that file transfer protocol service running on their computers. So you will know that, right? So that's it manually, so you can do it. The other thing is you don't need to even go to the website. So you can directly use some automated tools like Nissus, Nikto, right, Metasploit, so they are the tools, software tools. You can execute those tools and it will list all those weaknesses, all those vulnerabilities, which is already in the list of that database. And they are smart because they can access to those database and they can pull the information and they can give you the list of all vulnerabilities that exist in your systems. That system may be your network or your software or your computers, right? So they are called automated systems. And usually this vulnerability assessment is done through a website. And you may have heard about, so most of the hacking is done to the, or most of the attacks, cyber attacks are done to the websites, right? Because websites are the most weakest point of any companies. So that's why most of the vulnerability assessment they do on the websites or web servers, right? And the next thing is the networks, right? So on the network also people will exploit the things, so that's why they will also do with the networks and SQL servers, right? The SQL means the database server, so people will try to exploit the database server, and also the wireless, because this is so you can also easily get the wireless, right? You can easily get connected to the wireless systems. So last week we have this. I have conducted a course, right? So we are doing the wireless hacking, Windows hacking, Linux hacking. So we did that work for that class.